And today we're drawing the story of SCP-999, the scariest monster in the whole entire SCP. He's so deadly that you should start running immediately. Just kidding. SCP-999 is the cutest and most cuddliest monster in the whole wide world. It's widely known as the Tickle Monster. The irony is, he's less of a monster and more of a cutie pie. SCP-999 looks like a gelatinous mass. His body is a large, translucent mass of orange slime, which weighs 54 kilograms. The whole SCP-999 is only this mass. There are no other organs in his body. The shapeless mass is covered by a thin membrane of half a centimeter thick. The membrane is highly elastic, which helps SCP-999 to change its shape and flow around. Even though the subject is shapeless, most of the time, a beanbag kind of shape is formed when he rests, with 2 meters wide and 1 meter height. SCP-999's body is made of some substance which is unknown for modern science. We can say it's oil-based. The consistency of the matter is similar to peanut butter. A monster that looks like peanut butter. Oh no, I'm so scared. SCP-999 emits a variety of scents, like chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, and roses. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to be friends with this one? I know you must be excited to know more about it, so keep watching, because I'm going to cover everything about SCP-999 in this video. So first, let's look into the most famous theory for the origin of SCP-999. SCP-231-7, who is also called the Seventh Bride, is the mom of SCP-999. She was impregnated by the Scarlet King. That mom is not so friendly looking. I'm not judging. You do you, boo. I'm just a man talking, that's all. The SCP Foundation wanted to stop this birth as they didn't want to deal with another SCP object, because there are already loads of monsters they're dealing with every day. Of course, it's one of the more tiresome and dangerous jobs. So they started the procedure 110 Montauk to stop the birth of SCP-999. But the O5, who is SCP's higher tier of commanding officers, stopped the procedure. They decided that the birth should happen, and they let SCP-999 come into this world. That's how SCP-999 was born out of SCP-231-7. Its story is also pretty amazing, exactly like SCP-999. I just want to pet it. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? I mean, comparing to all the abominations out there, SCP-999 is a breath of fresh air. It's refreshing to hear that there are good SCPs out there who don't always want to eat you. But that doesn't mean that we can simply let SCP-999 roam around the world. What if it goes through a metamorphosis and transformed into a deadly monster, like its mom? SCP-999 is given a pen, or a shell-like area to live. He's one of the most harmless SCP objects we've ever come across. SCP-999's character can be compared to that of dogs. He's very playful and friendly. He has elevated happiness and excitement when being touched by humans. This will stay as long as the person stays with him. He cannot talk. However, he will make noises, like gurgles. He'll try to hug the person with its shapeless mass. He'll use pseudopods, or arm-like projections from his body mass to hug. These projections are temporary. He'll also try to touch the person's face with affection. I mean, who wouldn't want an SCP like this? SCP-999 likes to play tickle wrestling. He'll hug the person from the neck and tickle them until requested to stop. If he feels like the person was slightly hurt or disturbed by excess tickling, SCP-999 will quickly go back and whimper like a dog. It's a way of saying sorry. The same way SCP-999 becomes happy in human contact, the person who comes in contact with SCP-999 will also experience high levels of happiness and content. People with depression have been cured completely after being in contact with SCP-999. Talking about his eating habits, he eats candies and sweets. He refuses to eat any kind of meat. In fact, he loves animals. Considering its harmless nature, he's allowed to roam around the facility as much as he wants. Only between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., he should be inside his pen for sleeping. Any security personnel who are on break or having free time can get inside SCP-999's den and play with him. They're allowed to talk with him calmly. Once SCP-999's abilities were identified, Dr. Collingwood was assigned to protect him, no matter what. SCP Foundation believes that SCP-999 can overpower the Scarlet King, not by dark forces, but by his love, light, and laughter. SCP-999 is analyzed to have high intelligence. In one occasion, he tried to save an animal from a bullet by jumping in front of the bullet. This proved that he has high emotional intelligence and knowledge about guns. SCP-999 has a special interest in interacting with people who are sad or depressed. He kind of understands the person's feelings by looking at them and taking extra care of them, and tries to cure them. With its healing abilities, which can be used to humankind, SCP-999 is unique and of utmost value to the SCP Foundation. There are plans to develop antidepressants by studying more about him. SCP-999's adorable appearance, friendly attitude, and his super ability to cure human minds makes him more than just an SCP subject or a pet. SCP-999 opens a new world, a new thinking, that there are good SCP around us. It's not like every SCP are dangerous, and we should immediately kill them in first instance. Like many deadly SCP, there might be many good ones who can help the human civilization. They might have godly powers, like the deadly ones, and they might cure the whole civilization. Or they might help us with our environment or pollutions. For now, we don't know, but sure, there are endless possibilities. But recently, the SCP Foundation has discovered many good SCP. If you want me to make some videos about these harmless SCPs, comment below. So that was the story of SCP-999. If you like horror stories like these, hit that subscribe button with notification so that you will not miss any episodes. And I'll meet you in the next episode. Till then, stay safe.